It is not necessary to complicate all problem statements by pushing an AI solution into it.
Welcome to a new episode of Engati CX. I'm your host Imtiaz, and we are really glad to have all of you join us today. On this show, we talk to CX and technology experts from around the world. We explore, uncover, and share fresh insights on creating experiences that your customers will remember and look forward to. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code digital customer experience platform, available across 14 different channels with 45,000 plus solutions created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc. magazine, Tech World, CIO magazine, and many others. Engati recently also won the 2021 Cody Award for Best AI Driven Technology Solution, which is a global award. We run the Engati blog, the video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. And now, for our guest, Ujjyaini Mitra is the Chief Data Officer at Zee Entertainment Enterprises Limited. She goes beyond best in class and is passionate to build next in class innovative solutions for businesses using design thinking, innovation, and AI. She has over 14 years of rich leadership experience in establishing data as a culture at large organizations. Her work experience is spread over the globe across industries like digital media, entertainment, e commerce, telecom, just to name a few. In a nutshell, Ujjaini is a strong people leader with in depth domain expertise. Welcome to the show, Ujjaini.
Absolutely, thanks.
We are very glad to have you with us today. Before we dive into our interview, uh, don't forget to subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to get access to exclusive content from all of our thought leaders from across the globe. Let's start with a bunch of questions that I have for you. What are the ways to democratize access to data? What are your thoughts on this?
This is a very good question, Imtiaz. And as I hear now, many organizations, large enterprises, who actually had a lots of data and mostly in different pockets of their businesses, either getting worked siloed, they're all looking at this term called data democratization. And most people think that it is something related to technology. It is more related to PI visualization or data lake. Like they start talking, okay, build a data lake and bring all the data inside. However, the data democratization, in my experience, actually first starts with the org culture. Okay? And when I say org culture, two things is very important in this space. One part is trust, and second part is a strong practice of confidentiality of internal informations. Unless and until these two are very much interlinked to the organization culture, collaboration as an organization culture, it is whatever technology we bring, it is almost impossible to do the data democratization. Because one of the biggest value add that democratization does is cross functional learning, more collaboration, and bringing a much larger and probably non-linear value add in the whole process. Now, yes, we can always bring all the data in a data lake, churn all the insights out of it. But at the end of it, say we are creating a visualization. Now imagine a business which spread across multiple functions, multiple sectors, but they are very clear that they do not want to share data, exchange data with each other. How can you ever build a democratization? Right? So whatever be the underlying layer of the technology that is built, any kind of beautiful visualization you build, anything that is done, ultimately that fruit of it will never be achieved by the organization. So I always suggest that this should be started with figuring out the data culture, figuring out the right org structure. Is actually the org structure the way the PNL is driven? Is that's how the org structure to be? How the each departments are working with each other? Are we forming cross functional teams to actually build a successful project? Once we look at all these things, then creating a data democratization is actually can become very successful in that process. And that is where, for example, like if I take an example from the media industry, where I belong, there are content functions, there are marketing functions, there are revenue functions, but the same content which is actually getting watched by consumers are the place where the customers are bringing their advertisements, all the advertisers are bringing advertisements, which is creating my revenue. So each of these three are connected, like, really tight coupled. And unless and until from each department's data coming together and the values are created together, the data democratization can never happen. If content function says that, I will have my narrow view of things, I do not want to know how the revenue is working or versus how marketing is working, that's never going to create the democratization. So yeah, in my mind, it's more of a transformation journey towards a new culture where collaboration and the trust has to flourish.
I think very valuable points. So with democratization, we often discuss concept of privacy as to, how do you bring them together. And I think, as you rightly said, a culture, probably a culture driven by values, in terms of how do you bring these two together is what drives both democratization as well as privacy, I guess. I think that works out well. Moving on to the next question. Has business intelligence failed to deliver ROI as per your experience?
It's a very debatable question. Okay, so the way I explain to it is, there are three types of intelligence. The first layer of intelligence is more about information, which is like good to know layer. I just know what has happened yesterday. I know how much revenue or how much purchase has happened on my platform yesterday, which is more information led. Second one comes is the insights. So, okay, I have seen the informations. I have done few observations that yesterday one particular category has been shopped far better than any other categories. Is there any reasons? And I'm driving an insights out of it. And then, in the insights level, it is connecting multiple dots of information, putting a thread around it, and creating a story around it. The best part after that comes is actually called action. So it is okay to know what has happened. It is okay to know why that has happened. But can I take action out of it? And can I get any measurable impact out of it? So if I see these three layers, what has happened, BI or business intelligence so far has always been considered for the first layer, where it is more like an static information, more view driven, less action driven. And, therefore it is stuck at that layer, and more it is stuck at just good to know layer. It will have lots of cost, but it will only deliver as much value. Probably it will be only opened in some of the meetings for discussion purpose and nothing beyond that. So only when we convert the BI to a smart BI, so let's just term it to different, that BI to a smart BI, where I can observe not only what has happened, but I can also take action out of it on that spot from that platform itself. And therefore, these days, a new terminology has come, which is called data products. So, yes, visualization is actually delivering a product which is more like a data product. At the back of it, there could be more artificial intelligence, ML model, all those stuffs. It can create a cohort. So, let's take an example like, you have created a beautiful consumer segmentation, which is like at an n equal to 1 level, giving lots of what you can do next, best actions that you can do. But from that visual platform, and then on top of that, we have created a business intelligence visual platform. But from there, when the business users are actually looking at that, founds a very interesting cohort that is coming up and immediately comes up with an idea, I should do a certain kind of promotion or a certain kind of marketing to that person. Can I create that cohort on the space, connect that BI platform to my MarTech tool, and actually action an immediate, any promotion or any marketing out of it? Now that's when I convert the BI to a smart BI. So I think ROI will come when I move up the value chain. I move out of this information layer to the action layer. BI will absolutely add lots of.
I think BI with a purpose definitely delivers ROI, right?
Absolutely.
Can automation or guided insights generation become equivalent to no code, low code for business users? I mean, these days, no code, low code is like the uh, very popular term, right?
Absolutely.
So, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on the same?
Okay, so what I have seen that is guided insights are still at a pretty nascent stage. And once again, as I go back to the value chain from the information, it is successfully able to drive observations. When we move from the observation to an insight layer, it needs a lot of business domain understanding. It is more art than just science, and the same data presented to probably five different people can actually bring out five different insights out of it. We can train a machine to pick up certain kind of insights. We can ask, okay, looking at this data, what all first level questions do you ask? What are those top 10 questions that you ask? And therefore we can try to step by step automate most of this, and beyond the point you can say, okay, it has probably taken out all the insights that's possible or can deliver it. But still, when you look at a little longer term trend, there could be some underlining facts which a human brain can actually connect, and we are not necessarily, a machine is probably not connecting. It may as well happen completely opposite, something that human mind is not able to see, because human mind can probably go 2 3 layers down the line, right? So it says that human eyes can only view 3 dimensions. Beyond that it is not able to, and machine actually is helping us to bring out those hidden layers out of it. If we can go at that level, then that kind of assisted insights will absolutely help. It will be a groundbreaking kind of a thing. But what I have seen so far, I have seen it is still at a very nascent stage, where automating the observation, telling that, okay, compared to the regular business way, it is probably doing better versus worse, such kind of insights it has been able to bring. But once it does it, it can absolutely become a path changing thing.
I know if we have to use guided insights as a technology across all domains and use cases, it may really be extremely tough and say that it has been successful and so on, right? So, do you think if we apply guided insights as a technology to a certain problem statement or to a certain use case, do you think it will result in a better outcome?
Absolutely. For example, I can tell you in healthcare, right? So when we go to beyond the top cities or the metro towns, right? If you go a little down, you will find it's so difficult to get good specialist who can read, say, radiology or any such reports. But if it happens that and there are such tools, there are such products that different companies are trying, where it can actually read through the medical reports, and it can guide the person on the ground, at least tell them some of the possible options that may happen based on that. So yes, absolutely, and these are actually life changing thing. Imagine, a process is telling that, hey, you know what, these are the possible 2 to 3 things, and you should go to probably this doctor versus this hospital immediately, or it requires an immediate attention versus not, it can still wait for another 5 days and there is nothing to worry. Even such level of guided insights can really add lots of value. So I totally agree, if we go very domain specific, solve specific problems, that way I think it can do a lot good, versus creating a platform where we say that, okay, now give any data, it will tell you insights. The moment we try to sell it like a magic, I start doubting it.
Can gamification help to accelerate interpretation and understanding of data?
See, instead of gamification, I would rather talk a little different way of looking at the data thing. So today, what happens is most organizations, the business users ask that, okay, this is what something I'm trying to look at. These are some of the KPIs I'm trying to figure out. Can you create a dashboard and give it to me, right? And then the dashboard is given, and then it is up to them, or there is an insights tool who regularly look at it and tell them the insights. But let's flip the process. Okay, all the data, different insights, different models are created at a bottom layer. The front end that this business user gets, it's like, you go to Google to literally search. You go to Google Map to search a location. Google Map never comes to you and say that, hey, I have these locations, do you want it? So if I flip the thing and say that I do not want to otherwise send any dashboards to anyone, it is kept. You come and search what you want, right? So gamify it in a other way around. So the person comes, it's a search engine given to everyone, and everyone searches based on what they need at that point of time. And it understands the NLP, NLU process, and it understands that simple English. It goes to the data or the canned reports, it flashes the results. You want it, then some certain filters applied, the final result is created. I would rather look for, if we call it as a gamification, I don't know, but I would rather look for to that flip coin side today, which is doesn't happen. We keep on feeding n number of this dashboards or the data to the leaders, and they at the end stop almost looking at it. So it becomes a very boring process. So instead, I don't want to say I'm sending you every day, why don't you look at it? I'll say, okay, no, I have given you a platform, you don't need to know what it is. Here is a search engine, you go and search what you want. If it is there, it will flash you the result. If it is not there, it will say, okay, I'll get back. It sends an alert to the data science team that, okay, this is something that a person was looking at. We don't have it. We see, yes, that is not there. We build it and keep it there for the next time use. So it is kind of iterative way it is built. And that's how I think, Google search and Google map is also been built. So let's think, how can I build a BI platform like a Google search?
Interesting perspective of presentation and thinking of search as gamification. It may work actually. Although I think the interesting part there would be understanding the search query itself. For example, here there's an extra load on the system because let's say a traditional BI system is supposed to churn results and help you visualize. It is not trained to understand, I would say, understand what you are trying to ask.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a challenge if we can solve then. Yeah.
What I have observed, Imtiaz, is say, in any one company, if you are working for at least for 6 to 10 months, and
Mhm.
you start looking at all the questions coming from different departments, over a time you will find that 80 to 90% of them are same.
Mhm.
There is only 10% variations that happens time to time, and the new questions come.
Mhm.
More the new organization, more new questions. But if it's a more established business, chances of coming a very new kind of question is less. So if and this is an iterative process, it's not like the day one everything will be there. Day one it is probably 40% there, but as people keep asking questions, it keep on builds, and as it builds, the new things are actually there for the next time. You just come, you get it. And over time you will find that people are asking questions, 90% are solved, the remaining 10% absolutely fine, the data science team can work on it.
I think definitely. I think that's a good approach. Can storytelling become a part of core data analysis? I think this again is connected to gamification.
See, these days there are lots of compartmentalization that has come in the data analysis. I mean, there are people who are data engineer, data scientist, then business analyst, then someone is an insight and a storyteller. And there are lots of such profiles that flourishes. But at least the time that when I started, I very clearly learned one thing from my first organization. It doesn't matter how fancy is your solution, unless and until it can tell a story, and it can therefore impress and get a quick business buy-in. Business applies it and get a value. If that is not happening, whatever fanciful project you have done is just a theoretical exercise. Okay. So in my mind, storytelling probably is one of the thing everyone should learn. It doesn't matter whether it's a data engineer or someone is a data scientist or AI scientist, it just doesn't matter. Storytelling is probably something that should be taught since the kindergarten. And this should be like a base level capability that everyone should build.
Yeah.
So it is part of, very much part of the core data analysis. And even if you're creating a product, even if that product actually can do the storytelling, however assisted way, I mean, that will win the heart.
I think all valid points, and I, I like what you're saying. That we should be taught storytelling right from the start, and but especially, I mean, looking at data analysis, right? Isn't storytelling in the hands of the storyteller, really? So it depends on. So here, do you think the storytellers are the business users who are actually asking you, let's say, a number of questions, or should, let's say, the data team itself proactively build out those stories, or the system should help you build out those stories?
I think, storytelling is not necessarily job of at the hand of only one people.
Mm.
My point is storytelling is a more collaborative work. So the system that you are building, if it can do some assisted storytelling, nothing like it, right? So someone, instead of watching, I mean, seeing all these beautiful charts, if at the same time it has a voice and it says, five top things that has happened, where a person very busy doesn't need to go through all the charts and all the tables and all the numbers. At the same time, when we are doing, say, a data analytics team or data analyst has done some analysis, I have found that it actually has higher acceptance when the person tells at least one set of story.
Mm.
There might be more other stories, but at least from that person perspective, at least one set of story the person should say, that yes, this is the analysis done and this is what I see that is happening, this is what is my view. When it is going to the hand of a business owner or a business user, that person might be seeing it from a very different angle. Maybe the person is also mixing more data points on top of it. Maybe the person actually saw two other analysis that has come to that person. Probably one is an external research. When that person combine more data points, that person tells a far bigger and a far impactful and a stronger story. When it probably goes to the investor's hand, because the investor has seen more other such things, actually tells a far bigger level and a far top level strategy story. So I think, stories keep on changing, but if you don't tell a story and just do a dry analysis, the value and the acceptance and the attractiveness of it dies at a very first level. So it has to ignite, and to ignite, at least you have to start with one story.
I think very good points. Depends on the perspective. A collaborative effort drives a better, bigger story, for sure. Can data lake architecture ease the problem of handling big data?
To be honest, we have started using the data lakehouse kind of architecture of late. I would say last 5 to 6 months, not more than that. Um, we had otherwise mostly data lake, which we are using, and a certain sections of our work used to use the database system, but a bigger chunk of it was data lake. And recently, we have started using this lakehouse concepts, where we actually are creating that end-to-end kind of data product that I was telling, that I do not want to serve only a static dashboard, but I also want to connect it to the actionable, through API, to the actionable options. When we are doing that, and that is where we are seeing that having the lakehouse kind of architecture helps better. It has lots of benefits from both the data warehouse as well as the data lake. It actually has a far better optimized storage, and therefore, it gives a better computation, speed of actions, concurrent usage. So lots of things are much far more beneficial, especially in the space where our data is really large. Almost 10 million people's coming every day doing few billions actions. I mean, it's almost otherwise becomes very difficult. So yes, I mean, we have started using it. We are seeing some benefit. I believe, it can solve, it has potential to solve. But, as we more use it, we will be knowing it far better. It's a new technology. It will unfold its benefits or challenges over time.
And how can AI improve the ROI from BI? I know businesses are pretty used to BI as a technology and understand it very well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think AI is, I think still people are trying to figure out, is it a fad? You know, so what are your thoughts about that?
This question actually very much connects to your almost the second question, that has business intelligence been able to deliver ROI? And I was talking move BI to a data product or a smart BI kind of a platform. So here, I can give you an example how AI can unfold the, lots of values from the BI system. One, of course, you said you spoke about that the assisted insights generations, because that's the space. Second, I spoke about this Google search kind of thing, where once again, first you need to understand the English, the natural English, or the specific language, what the question is, and then going back and bringing the right answers. But let me give you, probably create a dream for you, okay, if I may. So say, you are actually one of the, you are the product head, right? So you are looking at a dashboard or a couple of dashboards, and you are seeing different journeys that the platform or the consumers are taking. You are seeing certain informations. You have actually searched, you figured out four or five such beautiful charts which explains what you wanted to explain. It has given, a new idea to you, and you have pinned those charts, and then, it created a customized dashboard for you. You have a stratco meeting, and you are taking that dashboard to the stratco. Instead of taking that, dashboard which is very dry in nature, you actually has a AI solution. You click to that button, it creates a simple 2 minutes a video, putting all those charts, and it has a voice, and probably it can understand your voice. And it has created that voice video for 2 minutes. You went to the stratco, instead of you standing and presenting all this, you just played the video immediately brings attentions from everyone, instead of you presenting, or someone standing and presenting the dry chart. They look at it, the top leaders agree to your idea, and you said, okay, that's great. So I have a, clear new plan of a new marketing or a new product design. You just send it to your developers. Okay, this is the word, I'm looking for. It just does the end to end job, right? And underlinked are the AI. I do not want to sell AI at the face of the people as an AI. AI should actually do the underneath job, and it should look like a convenience, as if, I can touch and feel it's as soft, right? So if I can bring that, and this is where AI and BI both can stand together and can serve a beautiful solution, and it can create a huge impact.
It actually takes me back to the first question that we had discussed, which spoke about democratizing data, right?
Yes.
So here I feel, to summarize what you said, it's more of democratizing AI to all use cases based on the use case, so that it actually becomes easily accessible and is convenient to use, as compared to it being a concept at a high level, like a technology that can be applied to everything. And your
Yes.
mention about how AI and BI can coexist, I think that's probably the first time I've heard that take, and I probably agree with it, because most often people tend to always discard the old technology and try to, always try to grab onto the new technology and work towards it. But I think we need to understand that each kind of technology has its own purpose, and they can coexist together. Any other sound bites that you would like to share with our audience?
I will just once again say the same thing that most of the time, whenever a new technology comes, we kind of try to sell it as a new thing, right, in the market. What happens is it creates lots of silos, and that one siloed technology can never solve any solution end to end. We should always solve a purpose, so it should be very purpose driven. If we are solving a purpose of a consumer or for a client, and that purpose may have multiple things interlinked, if the purpose can be solved with a very simple analysis, please do that. you know if that purpose needs some bit of AI or a machine learning, okay, go for it. But not, it is not necessary to complicate all problem statements by pushing an AI solution into it. So, solve simple. It is a lot more sustainable. It is a lot more accepted. It is cost saving. So go simple, combine things, and solve for a purpose.
Yeah, I think very good points. Yeah, I think how can we collaborate different kinds of technologies and actually look at solving the problem than trying to figure out, trying to force a technology onto the problem, right?
Exactly.
Very good points. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ujjayini, for giving us your time today. Your insights were really valuable, and I know our audience is going to enjoy this interview. So we'll be back again with a new episode with a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you around for the next one.